I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you're listening. This is Oops the Podcast. Very excited to be back here with you. I'm joined as ever by my intrepid partner, Giulio Gallerati. We've been hanging out.
What's up, dog?
Good to see you again, pal.
Good to see you, man.
I've got this measuring tape here
Oh yeah, baby.
because I want to do a Python measurement.
Let's do it.
I think we should just start right off with this. You guys know that I'm now a full week into my creatine journey, maybe a week and a half. And I want to see if there have been any improvements or changes. The only problem is that I did not get a baseline.
Oh, I was going to ask that.
So this will be our baseline.
Okay.
Unfortunately. So this will be our baseline, but I don't think a whole lot's changed. I don't feel that much different yet. So let's do a bicep. Now, am I supposed to flex or not?
Yeah.
Am I?
What?
For a bicep measurement,
Ryan,
I feel like you should
can we
flex.
check this?
Do you flex for a bicep measurement?
What do you? Don't you have to?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tune into the YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch this happen and check out the strength and size of my pythons, because the pythons are coming along. I do feel like they are coming along. I've been spending a lot of time in the serpentarium, and they are. I think I'm just tending to them like a garden, and I'm hopeful that we'll see some results.
I like it, dude.
Soon.
Also, a side note, we are releasing some sort of side content on our YouTube channel as well that's separate from the podcast. If you guys want to check that out, we're going to start rolling those out today, right? Is today? There's one out now?
No.
Tomorrow, okay.
All right, Ryan, what's the word? Am I supposed to flex for the Python measurement?
So do not flex while you're measuring.
Really?
You'll
What the
get reliable and consistent measurements if you measure your bicep when it's relaxed.
Okay, so this is a flaccid
Yeah, fuck
python
that,
measurement. We're going flaccid pythons. They are sleeping at the
Limp
moment.
snakes.
Limp snakes.
So wait, are we but left arm or right arm, or should it not matter?
Let's do left.
Okay.
This feels like I'm, getting a tourniquet applied so that they can take blood or inject heroin. Make sure it's nice and taut.
This is inches?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got? Is that the biggest part?
Is it
the
not?
biggest part
Is
of
it
the
not?
bicep? Come up a little higher. All right, what do you got there?
30.2.
30.2.
30.2, mark it.
Mark it down.
Soft golf clap.
Somebody keep note of that. 30.2. This is January 28th of the year of our Lord 2022.
Dude, to be honest, now it's like 30 point. All right, hold on. There's been a discrepancy.
Oh.
So am I supposed to do it to the end of this? Or to
However
where,
you do it,
okay,
just
30.2,
make sure you do it the same way every time.
30.2. And I'll be the control.
All right, let's do a quick barrel measurement too, okay? We got to get the chest as well cuz I'm working on the chest a lot.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like you're fitting me for a suit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Putting it right there.
Here. Give me that.
Okay.
Pass it around the world. Here we go. Oh yeah.
Round and round we go. Trunk measurement. What do we got?
This is tricky because
What do we got,
it's,
Big
it's hard
Daddy?
not to flex your chest. What are you seeing?
100.
I'm seeing like 42.
Wait, what? What's this 100? Is this the wrong? Oh,
That's
that's
centimeters.
Oh,
that's
dude.
that's the measurement you probably want.
that was the measurement we did last time. Wait, it can't be centimeters.
One
'Cause look,
side is
100. Oh, this meters or no, not meters.
100 centimeters sounds like the right amount. If it's
Yeah, so then your bicep was in centimeters too, which obviously makes sense because there's no way it would have been 30 inches.
I'm getting a 43 inch chest. Does that sound right to people?
Isn't this ironic that we just accidentally did it in the
You gotta
metric
do.
system? And
You
have
got to
no
do
idea?
my bicep. You got to
Yeah,
do the
we have no
pythons again. God damn it,
All
Giulio.
right, so wait, what'd you get for the chest?
I had 43 inches for the chest.
Attaboy.
Okay,
That's
one
nothing
more
to scoff
python
at.
measurement here, and then we'll get going on the stuff people really like to hear about. Because
We like the pythons.
I get
dude.
that this is more for me than anyone else. How many inches?
Dude, this is not more for you than everyone else. We like this. Okay. We're working with 12 inches.
A 12-inch python.
Dude,
Okay.
measure me.
Okay. All right. You might have bigger pythons.
I don't think so.
I think so. I
Bro,
wouldn't be
there's no-
surprised.
there's no way, bro.
Well, because, you know,
I'm guessing mine are going to be like 10 or 9.5.
no, I think you'd be surprised. All right, hold on.
You did see them too?
I did see him. All right, Giulio's pythons are coming in at a cool
11?
yeah, 11.
Okay.
Just that sounds exact. Like maybe 11 and a half. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the control.
That's the control.
Don't expect that number to change much.
Yeah. Interesting.
It actually may go down, if anything.
All right, so that's python measurement for today.
Very
Keep
good.
track at home. Okay, we're gonna do updates.
Dude, so I thought of something fun, man.
Excellent.
So our celebrity, we both have really good celebrity couple names with our girlfriends.
What does
You know
that
how they
mean?
do like Ben, or what is it like Ben and
Oh,
Jen?
Bennifer. and-
Bennifer, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Jewelry. I'm jewelry. How fire is that? Jewelry's unbelievable.
Well, why do you say? What do I have?
Dude, yours is even better. Friera.
Yeah. Guy Friera.
Friera and jewelry, dude.
That's
It's
pretty
so
good.
Sick. I was thinking about that because we went on a little double date, which was really nice, dude.
We did go on a double date. Yeah.
I have had one of the most boring months of my life this month, I would
It's
say.
tough. It's tough
been
month.
a terrible month. But that's probably a good thing. We can talk more about that later. But we went to dinner. We kind of thought of it on a last second.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really prepare for this. No one had a reservation. And somehow it was the most crowded night in the history of New York City.
Honestly, anyone who thinks that New York is anything other than the most busy that it's ever been in its entire history
You are
is
incorrect.
dead wrong. It is uncomfortably and unhappily crowded.
There was nothing going on. There was no event. Like if I had to guess in like a very dad-like fashion, like everybody has recovered from Omicron now, if I'm
Yeah.
saying that right even, and they're ready to go out.
It felt like New Year's Eve.
Dude, we went into this one restaurant and
It was preposterous.
we got a reservation at this one place, like a late reservation too, like later than any of us wanted.
Yeah, I think it was 9:30. Right?
Yes, 9:30, and Francis Sierra beat us there, and we get there and we just could not believe there was like 4 solid rows of infantry between us and the bar.
Yeah, so there was a bar for the restaurant where everyone was waiting to get a drink while you waited for your table, and it was like the front row at a, I hate to say a Travis Scott concert, but that's you know kind of what it felt like.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just everyone just mashed up to the
It was
person in front of them,
crazy.
and then all the tables so crowded that we thought, I just said, I don't want to be here. I was getting that nervous,
Claustro.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
getting that claustro situation, and so we started
It was nuts.
wandering around the West Village, and we figured, well, it's 9:30. Surely some restaurant will have a dropout at this hour.
Yeah.
And we went to the usual suspects, and everyone basically just laughed in our face.
Every place we went, yeah.
Yeah, all of them said, "What? Get out of here. We're booked slammed solid all the way through until close." So finally, we put our name in at a place that had a super long wait list already, but the woman said a bunch of these people aren't responding. They've already found tables. And so we put our name in, walked around, and she said it'll probably be 15 to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a full 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And we were sitting next to the door.
Yeah, which was crazy. And Sierra and I both apparently, not like in unison, had separately said that day to our significant others that we were craving Negronis,
Negronis.
which kind of like was the straw that broke the camel's back of
Yeah.
being like, all right, let's do this tonight.
Yeah.
It was nice. I had a nice time.
And
you
we,
know?
by the way, also, I discovered today that I think I like the name Negroni for a dog.
So funny.
So perhaps our next pooch will be going by the name of Negroni, and no one else can take that from me.
Kojai and Negroni.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's
ring
really
to it.
good.
Yeah.
It's a good squad.
Kojaroni, the celebrity couple.
Very cute.
Okay. So, Giulio,
Yes.
what's happening
Dude,
in your life?
so I'm not kidding you. This has been the most boring month of my entire life. It has been. And I've been doing things like I'm editing, and this Iraq stuff is starting to take form, and there's more usable stuff than I thought, blah, 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 blah. It's the biggest project that I've ever edited. So I've been spending a lot of time doing it. It's taking a lot of energy, and I'm kind of like conflicted about that. I'm like, is this what I want to be spending all my time doing like right now? But I'm like, all right, it's fine. Like this is cool. Like it's all good. But like haven't really been doing a ton of stand up. Haven't been like having that much fun. Haven't been going out that much. Like even on the weekends, like trying to kind of find excuses to not do anything. And it's been a fucking bummer, dude. But I've turned the corner. Like the edit is like feeling more obvious. Like I kind of know where it's going now, and it's a little less daunting. So I'm hoping I have like a dinner tonight. I have a late spot. I'm hoping to like kick back into the groove. But it's been very, very slow for me, dude.
Interesting. You know what I think I would prescribe for you is a big night.
Yeah.
I would say you need a Slump-Buster. You need to go out and,
tear it down.
Yeah, just stay out till 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Get home at 4, order a pizza, pass out, wake up, order another pizza, play Zelda, whatever it is, listen to some Latin music videos. The usual.
I need that.
You need to blow up.
I need some Latin music videos late night in my life.
You need your body to hurt the next day.
Yeah.
Is what I think you need.
I've had like I've been living like pretty healthy lifestyle too, but like it's just not fun, dude.
Yeah, it's tough this time of year. It's interesting you say this because I have had a very opposite experience.
Really?
Yeah.
You've been ripping it?
Well, a lot of big things have just sort of popped up out of nowhere. Things that I need to make major choices about.
Oh, like work stuff?
Work stuff,
Cool.
opportunities, things where there's no clear right answer. And I have to make choices, and it's impossible to know which one. Does that ever stress you out when you're presented with two choices about, something that's going to occupy you for potentially a year or more, and you don't know which one is the right one?
Oh, so you have to pick one or the other?
You kind of have to pick one or the other?
Of course. And it's one of those things where it's like, you have to remind yourself that that's a problem that you would have wanted if you didn't have it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The same way that like, fucking taxes, like that, like it's a good problem to have. Like Hillary's dad, like his taxes are like complicated, and he always will say that that's like a luxury.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's a good way to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
I just like overshare about Hillary's dad?
No, I think that's fine. Taxes being complicated. I don't really know what that means.
No, it just means like if you have
accounts in the Cayman Islands.
No. It's if you have complicated taxes. I think his taxes he has to do them in like a bunch of different states, if not all the states.
Yeah. Well, our taxes are pretty complicated.
Yeah, they are. And it's funny actually, dude. I was talking to Brent about this, and he was like, I was bitching about how my taxes are complicated, and he basically was like telling me that they aren't. He's like, all you have is 1099. He's like, you don't have any foreign stuff, no K1. He's like, you should be filing quarterly. He's like, honestly, if you don't, it's piker.
What does that mean?
It's piker not to file quarterly. Meaning like...
Is that like P?
No, piker meaning like you're a fucking like turkey. It's like...
Piker?
You're a piker.
Kind of like the term from Snatch?
I'm not sure.
A piker is somebody... Isn't a piker a gypsy? Someone, a sort of trailer park person?
He was saying something derogatory to me. No, that makes sense though. There's some parallel there. So essentially he's saying like, instead of being worried about your big tax burden at the end of the year, do your estimates quarterly. So then at the end, when you have to file, you maybe will get some back if you overpaid.
Interesting.
And I'm like, okay, fine. But whatever. The point being, that's better than like not having to pay taxes at all because you have no money.
Right.
So back to your problem. It's a great problem to have, but of course it's stressful.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Speaking of taxes. So I had two things interesting happen, about a month or so ago. One was that I got a big check back from taxes for being overcharged.
Amazing.
So I got this came out of nowhere, and I was thrilled. It's like $8,500 or something.
Oh my God, dude.
Just gravy.
Party.
Yeah. But then I was celebrating that, and then a couple weeks later, I got a request for back taxes that I owed.
Oh,
but that one was only like $1,300.
Okay.
But it still was frustrating. And it was from missing 1099s that I hadn't filed apparently in 2019.
That like somebody never
I don't
sent
even
you?
Yeah, presumably.
That's fucking
And what can
whack.
you do about that? And you get charged interest on them.
I know. So what you like need to do is like be aware of where all your money should be coming from, which is so fucking annoying.
I mean,
Whatever, fuck it. Yeah.
It's tough. But get this. So I paid that, whatever. It was annoying. It's fine. And then yesterday, I got this voicemail.
Oh boy.
And I'm going to play this. Oh, wait, hold on. Why is that not playing on speaker?
Is that automated?
No.
Hey, it's Sarah. I'm calling you from Tax Help Center, and I'm just following up.
This
with
is
the message
automated.
that I left you last week.
Oh,
It's
it's not?
regarding your back income tax debt, and I've got some great news for you with new changes that have taken effect. And I just wanted to discuss your repayment or eliminations options.
This is automated,
But
dude.
it is imperative that I speak to you just as soon as possible. So my phone number is 866.
Blah, blah, blah,
That's
blah, blah.
fake.
Dude,
That's fake, bro.
it's Sarah.
It's fake. Hey, this is Sarah. And then they like pause as
That's
if
a human being.
that was fake, bro.
You think that's a robot?
100% that's fake. All the boys nodding their heads. Welcome to
Listen,
fucking dadhood,
listen,
dude. You're
listen.
ready to have a kid, bro.
I agree. I agree that I smell a fish. There is
fake,
a
dude.
decidedly tidal scent to that.
Dude, there's no scent. That is a fish. It's not a scent of fish. That is a scaly
There's a
fucking
little
fish,
whiff
bro.
of sardine there.
There's
There's
no-
a little. There's a.
That is a
smells
trout,
like the
bro.
hands of a decent monger at the end of a long
That is a
day
catfish.
of mongering. Okay,
Slippery fucking
there
fish.
is a little bit of a fishy smell to that. However, it could not have come at a worse time in terms of my gullibility.
Right.
Because what she's saying could apply so perfectly to the exactly what happened
true,
to me.
True. Bad timing, but bro, it's very fake.
Is there any chance that she knew
No.
about what I had to pay in the back taxes?
Maybe, but like, dude, it's fake.
I almost liked her.
Hi, Francis.
Oh,
this is Sarah.
It was so familiar.
It turns out that your back taxes are due. It's
Hey,
just like,
it's Sarah. I'm calling you from Tax Help Center, and I'm just following up with a message that I left last week. It's regarding your back income tax debt. Got some great news for you with new changes that have taken effect. Yeah, it's all the language
It's fake.
of a fake message.
Yeah.
But it did feel like a person to me. You thought that was automated?
100%. That's a fake automated message.
At worst, it's a human who recorded it and then they sent it out to a
but
bunch
that's
of
what
people.
I mean. Like, all right, fine. It's not like a robot, but like, it also might be. Like, it's unclear, but like, it could be a real person also.
Sarah sounds kind of nice, though. Sounds like a nice person.
Dude,
I want to track her down. How'd she get into this line of
Dude,
work? What
that's-
happened? What
that's
happened to
funny.
her that she's recording voiceover solicitous messages to dupe,
the elderly.
confused taxpayers into giving their information?
You're a sucker, dude.
All right, well, Sarah, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
Have you heard all of the like fake voice things? They can there's like full songs where they took Jay-Z's voice and made like a whole new song of things that
Oh,
he
that's
never
true.
said.
What's that called again?
But
They probably that sounded like that.
Exactly.
That sounded like a
That's,
robotically
yeah.
manipulated real voice.
Yes.
Mm.
The
Something like that.
audio.
yeah.
deep
Oh,
fake
yeah.
Kind of
is
audio
what
deep
Ryan
fake.
said.
Ryan just chant it out.
Yeah, and the sentences were too perfect.
Mm,
There wasn't any mistakes.
interesting.
Crazy, bro.
Well, okay. All right. So long, Sarah. Glad to be out of that problem. I got something for you.
Hit me.
All right. So I do find that in this time of year, I'm more likely to get into tiffs with Sierra.
Really?
I push. I push because I am bored.
So I didn't, my response wasn't like, oh, really? I don't. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
So
I think it's for me, it's just in the same way that the way I like to play with Kojai, where I want to see him riled up.
that's funny.
I'm kind of doing that with, I'm just so bored that I want some reaction. I
You're
want
just
to
amusing
poke
yourself.
the bear, but she's not a bear. She's a lovely giraffe. And it takes a lot for her to actually rise to the bait, at which point I feel bad.
To lower her long, elevated neck to your level.
Come down to my level. Take her head out of the leaves.
That really worked.
Yeah.
Did you intentionally? Is that what you had?
She's been talking about giraffes a lot.
Oh, I know,
lately.
because you guys.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. So, I what did I do? She said, oh, good news. We, our our wedding photographer is going to be in Brooklyn in May. We should have lunch with her. So, and I said, why would we do that? And she said, so she can get to know us. And I just immediately was like, I really, do we really need to do that? Does she need to know us? This isn't, Slim Aarons. It's not Ansel Adams or whatever. This isn't some legendary photographer who needs to understand our rhythms and DNA in order to best encapsulate who we are as a couple. This is just someone who does probably 46 weddings a year, is a hired gun, and is going to take 4 billion photos on the day, and that's that. And Sierra was disappointed that I wasn't more excited to meet the wedding photographer.
Interesting.
And I couldn't believe that. I was just like, come on. And she said, no, I'm just still coming to terms with reckoning with the fact that guys just don't care as much about the wedding or get as excited about this kind of stuff as we do.
Which can be a good thing for her as well.
Agreed.
Because if you're too involved, it can become annoying where like you don't want what she wants type of thing. Whereas if you're hands off, she gets to pick.
Right.
But this comes with the territory. You
Right.
also don't give a fuck about meeting the photographer.
And
I feel you on that one.
I said to her, I feel about our wedding right now the same way that I kind of feel about what's happening in Ukraine, where it's just, I hope it turns out well, but it's so far away that it's very hard for me to care.
That's very good.
And I said that to her in that
very
moment.
good. That's very good.
And she didn't really think it was that funny. And I think that's true because by the time this episode comes out, I fear that I fear that things might have really gotten worse in Ukraine.
Well, they're at the negotiating table now, though.
Let's hope. Let's hope
Hopefully that
old
continues.
Vlad can tuck his dick back into his pants and relax a little.
Do you see the country of Ukraine tweeting memes at Russia? Like, what world do we live in now?
It's crazy.
I didn't see that. That's crazy.
So anyway, do you think that I need to meet the wedding photographer for lunch? Do you think that that's an important step?
Like, I think that if I were you, I would kind of begrudgingly accept.
Yeah,
it.
but it's a slippery slope, Giulio, because next thing you know, we're going to meet the wedding photographer, then we're going to meet the band so that they can get a sense of us. And then we're going to meet the people who are putting the dance floor down so that they can understand our combined weight for the first dance. And then, it's just like it becomes this massive, ridiculous handshake line.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry.
You got to put your foot down at some point.
Agreed, but I think you can take an L on this one and go to lunch with the photographer. I want to hear more about this what's the poem? 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood.
And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, and then took the other as just as fair, having perhaps the better claim for being worn and wanted wear, though they were both worn about the same.
Is that Robert Frost?
Yeah.
Did I get the first sentence right?
And both that morning equally lay,
Did I?
and leaves no steps had trodden black. Oh, how I kept the other for another day, though knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Bro, don't come at me with poetry.
Dude, I didn't come at you with poetry. I was coming at you with talking about your shit, about your life. I was trying to go back into the thing you're talking about. Yo, bro, this isn't wiling out, dude.
Robert Frost. So Robert Frost,
that was impressive. By the
is
way.
an amazing poet. Obviously, the muse of New England, and that's where, man.
So you cut your teeth, baby.
What a you sometimes if you read some of his poems, it just makes you feel calm.
Did I get the first sentence right?
Yeah.
It's yellow wood.
No,
Oh,
2
sorry.
roads. Yeah, 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
good,
it.
good. Yeah, sorry.
So what's your question?
So my question was, so you have the roads are diverging for you in your professional life, and we haven't talked about sort of like, and I know you probably don't want to talk about specifically what the things are because you have to say no to one of them. However, do you want to do a little pros and cons thing on the air?
Well, look, potentially, yeah. you know, it's so hard to know, I think, in what we do, because a lot of the choices we make professionally are not tied to income. You're doing them with the hope that they will lead to income. I think a lot of people.
You're pretty good at looking through it through a practical lens. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I mean,
I find you to be a very effective entertainer when it comes to like spending your time doing things that are worthwhile. I admire that about you.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like you spend your time doing things that are either going to like help build something or like lead to money. Like, you don't like waste your time doing a thing that like it can be a waste of time.
It's amazing to me how many people
That's my perception.
are leaving money on the table in life.
Yeah.
I think, especially in our profession, the amount of people who just blindly do things without even trying to monetize them,
Right.
when there is an opportunity to do so.
But it's because of what you just said before. The idea that like, you know, we chose this because we love it, right? Or so we thought. And we hope that by doing it and pursuing it, the opportunity to make money will present itself. But it's not always that easy, right?
That's correct. It's not always that easy.
Yeah.
But I'm at a point now where the money has to be there. I can't take a whole lot of passion projects on in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not that interesting and I'm not that passionate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. I mean, I guess my point is one of these opportunities does have a pretty good, you know, money component to it. Actually they kind of both do, but it's always a question now for me of what I'm taking on. Is that going to redefine the way the audience sees me?
Uh-huh.
Like, let's say that I took on a role and became a played some clown on a YouTube show or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I'm the clown guy instead of, you know, the alternate side parking guy.
So I don't know if that's just like a random example, right? I don't think that's a good example.
Yeah, not really.
Because
right?
like, those two things live separately. Like the issue would be if your Instagram content becomes you being some kind of persona that is a departure from what you've done previously and having that be all that it is.
Uh-huh.
My only argument would be you have a very strong personality. So I would argue that your personality is going to shine through regardless of what you're doing if you're in a capacity where you're being yourself. Not to mention, you're not even doing alternate side parking anymore. So it doesn't even matter. You're just like, you're just doing the new thing as yourself.
No, I know. But I guess I don't know what people expect me to be at this time.
Right.
And I don't necessarily want to just shock them with a whole new thing.
Right.
Which,
But sorry.
I don't know if that's the right. I mean, you've got to constantly be reinventing yourself.
That's right. Yeah, that's wrong. And that's a good thing to say out loud because that's one of those things that like you can think and then once you say it out loud, you can realize that it's like not that valuable. Because dude, what people are expecting is not like you get to decide what they get.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be good. They don't know what they're expecting isn't as good as what you're planning to give them.
That could be.
Hopefully. That's what you should strive for.
My stuff has let people down before.
I think you've put out great stuff.
Yeah, I've put stuff up, though, that was a miss.
But nobody hits home run every time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
You know who's been hitting home runs lately?
Who?
Ryan on TikTok.
The TikTok daddy
Ryan's
himself.
been throwing up these TikToks that I like. I don't even understand them, but I like them. He had one the other day that was like just him doing it was along with this voiceover bit where the person was like, yeah, that was it. But you had a funny caption along with it.
Yeah, it was when the waiter or waitress asks if you want more bread, and then you obviously don't want to immediately say you do, but you do. And the cheesecake, and then so I said yeah to that. And then the Cheesecake Factory actually commented on it.
Oh, wow.
So my life.
Damn,
dude,
bro.
fucking killing it. Follow the boys on their shit. What are your guys' things? Chris is Chris.mp4 on TikTok and Instagram. Ryan, what's yours?
Ryan 28 Lynch on TikTok.
Ryan also went to the Laker game.
Yeah, thanks to our friend Abigail.
Shout out Abigail.
Shout out Abigail. Thank you so much.
Dude, speaking of which, Abigail also got you a gift, Francis.
What, the
Thanks again,
front
you.
door? Shut the fridge. Shut the fridge up. You went and saw LeBron, Jiminy James.
I got to see LeBron, Anthony Davis came back.
Yeah.
I've been a Lakers fan since I was a kid, so I was just happy to see him play.
I got a little DoorDash gift card.
Abigail, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Damn, Abigail.
Met her for lunch. She's lovely. Ryan went to
Wow.
the game.
I got to
knocked
meet
it out of
this
the park.
Abigail. She's like the Santa Claus of Oops the Podcast.
She takes great photos.
Yeah, there's like I'm always impressed when people are able to turn photography into a career. So good for her.
That plays into that whole wedding photographer
So I
thing.
think it's funny. I think she had mentioned that she used to do a bunch of weddings, and she kind of presented it in a way where she was doing it for the cash, you know.
Interesting. Cool.
But yeah. So okay, dude. So do one of these things? Do you feel one of them is truer to what you? Because all right, it sounds like to me that at least one of these things is something that you might not normally do on your own, but since you're getting paid, you're like, okay, I can lean into this. Am I that passionate about it? Maybe not, but maybe I'll grow to like it, and it'll become a great new thing for me.
That could be. Let me tell you something. One of the biggest barriers to entry for me in anything that I'm doing is whether or not the infrastructure is already set up for it to go. Meaning, do I have a consistent, reliable producer or editor who is in place and knows how to take what I make, the raw stuff that I'm making, and turn it into a finished product?
Yeah.
And that is the case here,
Great.
which is really rare. I find that, you know, as a creator, the luxury of having of someone who's a really skilled editor and is willing to just take all the nonsense you throw at them and then spend a lot of time sculpting and cutting and tying that into a cohesive 1 minute thing is not having that is what prevents me from making a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And when I do have that, I feel capable of making 10 videos a day.
Yeah. You know, totally. It's definitely freeing. In a perfect world, it would be nice to like, I fantasize about that sometimes when I'm editing, because I just like get too married to some of the footage and I want to put it all in, and like you just can't, and like you need somebody else to do it for you, you know. But I feel you. So okay, so all the infrastructure's in place, and you'll be getting paid. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So the thing that it's coming up in my head is like, if somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do this writing job for this show?" I might like consider it just because of the consistent income, but it's like not what I want to do. And that would never happen, unfortunately. But like, I kind of at one point stopped submitting packets because I'm like, I don't want to be a writer. I don't want to be a staff writer. It stresses me out. I've done like weeks on shows, and like it was.
Yeah.
I really didn't enjoy it.
I did that once, and I didn't like it that much either, to be honest.
But is this similar in that sense? Where
No, this is more
you want to do
forward
this more?
facing. Yeah. Let me ask you a question out of left field.
Okay.
As things heat up with Russia,
Mm-hmm.
let's say we ended up going to war with them, and then there was a draft.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all,
I believe things have slowed down with Russia. If we can check, I mean, by the time this episode comes out in a couple of days, this might have changed. But like, it turned out like they had surrounded the perimeter, but like with the intention of having talks.
It was
and
posturing.
Those talks are now happening.
Okay.
So I like to think that it is de-escalating.
Well, let's say that we
We'll
went
see.
to war with Russia.
I've been wrong before with predictions. If we all remember my COVID prediction in February 2020. Okay, we go to war with Russia.
And there's a draft.
Yeah.
Are we too old for a draft?
I don't think so. I think we're not. I don't think we are.
What is the age cutoff?
Can we quickly?
For young
We've talked about this before.
Men in the military.
And I forget. But I believe that up until XYZ age, you're still eligible technically. And I think that we still would be eligible.
Okay, that's my first question. And then my second question is, given your love of travel,
Yeah.
what is the country you would most want to go to war with so that you could
Go there.
see that part of the world?
Oh man. That's a funny question, dude. I don't
Like,
think
would you sign up for the military because you haven't been able to get over to
to a certain place.
Malaysia and
That's
Indonesia yet?
Like a place with a really hard visa requirement. Dude, I just feel like at war is not the way that I want to see anywhere.
Well, no, but if you had your druthers.
Antarctica.
Nobody's having a war over Antarctica unless we discovered some, cobalt under the ice floes.
It's just too expensive to get to. And like, you know what I mean? That's probably the most expensive place to go. Is Antarctica.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have an age requirement for the army?
Yeah,
the military?
all male citizens between the ages of 18 and 26 are required to register.
Oh, nice.
And they're liable for training and service until the age of 35.
So
18 to 35.
okay. So we still actually I won't be able to anymore. But
You're
still
an old man.
You're still eligible.
You're gonna miss
buddy.
out on that really cool war in Antarctica.
Fuck.
We better kick that off pretty soon.
P.S. If anybody's thinking of going to Antarctica, the move is you got to go to like Ushuaia, like the south of Argentina, and negotiate in person, and you can get a way better deal. That's what I've heard.
Good. Boy, take note, all of you at home trying to find a way to Antarctica affordably.
Have fun in those really rough seas. Dude, so by the way, I've completely turned on the Will Smith show. I really have fully enjoyed it. I felt bad that I ever knocked him as a host. But I will still say, like the Ewan McGregor show where he motorcycles around literally the entire world, there's 3 seasons of it. You can tell how passionate he was about like planning that whole project. I still find that host to be superior to the guy who's like, I've never done this, but I'm down. But I still think that there's value there. And the Will Smith show, possibly the most expensive show ever made. You should watch it. What's it called again? Welcome to Earth on Disney Plus. Nat Geo.
Oh, I just put this together. Is that a play on his famous line from Independence Day?
I don't think so, but like who could forget the Welcome to Earth line?
When he punches the alien in the face.
Welcome to Earth. Dude, that movie, I would argue, holds up less than any movie that I really liked as a kid. I watched it not too long ago. That movie is absolutely terrible. Dude.
It was the best movie I've ever seen for about 10 years of my life.
Same. And it came out in 1994.
I don't know.
Something like that. Dude, it was the best movie I had ever seen at the time. The special effects are absolutely terrible. The dialogue, absolutely terrible. It is a terrible movie. And watch it like with a grain of salt sometime and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like remember the scene where like Vivica Fox yells to the dog and it like barely escapes the flames? Whoa, the dog runs, jumps. The flames that come behind that dog are so terrible and fake.
They were working with what they had. And I'll add to that. It does make the way that they did Star Wars even more impressive to me.
100%.
Because I didn't find like Star Wars kind of holds up.
Absolutely.
And
like Alien holds
up.
up.
It was made in 1979.
Yeah, I think Alien was made in 1979 too.
Interesting.
Alien is terrifying to this day. It's very fucking good. Like there's a lot of really good Alien movies. Event Horizon, I think that's one of them. That movie is terrifying. But Independence Day, dude, garbage.
Fair enough.
But I don't know the answer to that.
Got it. Well, let's get into something interesting.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Oh, okay. Well, I have something. Dude, I was proud of myself. I had a very, that's funny.
I just want to get something exciting. I want to get something going here.
I had a very meta moment. I don't know if meta moment is the proper thing, but like there are situations. Have you ever had a situation where you find yourself proving yourself and then you're like, why am I proving myself, dude? Who cares? Why do I need to prove myself to this person? So I had the moment like this. Ricky did The Garden with Aziz.
Oh my God.
And, a couple other comics.
When was this?
This is on Monday or Sunday or something.
Madison Square Garden?
Mm-hmm. But like the smaller venue. I'm not that's not to poo poo. Like, I mean, Ricky's done like 20,000 people before or something.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even the biggest room he'd ever done, but it's it's the Garden. It's huge. So they did the Garden, great, whatever. I went to the after party, and obviously Aziz is at this after party. Chris was actually there too.
What?
I know.
What were you doing there? Were you there with Ricky? Damn. Ryan, what are we going to do? What can we do to catch up to these fucking A-listers over here?
Well, dude, listen, if you I make no mistake here. I had no, me being there wasn't important and didn't matter. And my story is about to prove that. So Aziz comes over. I probably met him 2 or 3 times, but I don't expect him to I don't necessarily expect somebody like that to remember me. We've met in passing briefly. Someone might have shared a detail about what we were talking about. That's it. So he comes over to our group and he's introducing himself, and that's fine. And then he starts asking us how we know Ricky. And he's like, how do you guys know Ricky? Are you guys friends from high school before? Have you ever seen him perform at such a big venue? Must have been cool for you to see him perform at such a big venue. And the impulse for a comic is to be like, oh, I'm a comic. And I was like, no one asked that. I'm not going to share that I'm a comic.
Good for you.
I'm going to sit here and allow Aziz to believe that I am a pure fanboy, and I'm so excited to be here and meeting him. And I've never met him before. And so I said nothing. I said, yeah, it was cool. I said, I actually didn't go to the show, and then Ricky's like, oh, he married me, not realizing that maybe I would like for it to be known that I'm a comic, but he's like, oh, you married him, but doesn't say he's a comic. 45 more seconds go by, and then somebody finally says, oh, he's a comic. I never had to say I'm a comic. And I was proud of myself.
And then what did Aziz do? Did he treat you differently?
No. I think if I had said, oh, I'm a comic, he would have treated me worse immediately. And I think he just didn't care. And I look forward to the next time where he introduces himself to me, the next time we meet. That will inevitably happen.
There is a lot to unpack there psychologically.
It's fine. I don't take offense to it. I would take offense to it if I sat with Aziz for an hour and talked to him about something. He would remember me then. There's a lot of time where I meet people in passing and I don't remember them either. Of course I'm going to remember Aziz Ansari. He's a world famous dude. He's the 3rd person in the Otis music video. Kanye West, Jay-Z, and Aziz are the cast of the Otis music video. He is a star. I also look up to him because he lives a very fancy lifestyle and is still able to be a funny comic.
He's distinguished.
Which I look forward to hopefully getting to someday.
He went to, I think it was Stern Business School at NYU.
I knew that he went to there for undergrad, but I didn't know he went to business school.
I think he was at the business school and then
as an undergrad?
Started doing, I don't know. I thought he was getting his MBA and then he started doing stand-up and then immediately was just crushing it in sketch shows and stuff.
Yeah. So I think too, if I remember correctly, he interned at Broadway Comedy Club when he was in college.
Interesting.
But anyway, so yeah, I am inspired by Aziz in general, and I do not take offense.
Well, all right. So let's go back and think about everything you just
Chris
said.
saw this all unfold, and I did mention this after the night had ended.
The way you said it made me think that you didn't want him to know that you were a comedian.
Of course I want him to know. I don't want him to talk to me like
But hold on. Do you want him to know that you're a comedian, or do you want him to know that you're a good comedian? Because you being a comedian means nothing, but you being a comedian who tours with Ricky and Pete and has a successful podcast, that means something.
Agreed. But I would assume that he wouldn't be impressed by any of those things, potentially. So, but the fact that I've made my way into this party means that I must have presented enough value in some capacity to have made it to this party. If I'm a comedian and I'm at this party, there weren't any lame brain brand new comedians at this party. It was a good roster.
How much stock are you putting into his perception of you?
Not much.
Respectfully, it sounds like you're putting a lot. You thought around that situation quite a bit.
So I just the idea of me. I don't know. I want him to know that I'm a comedian. I'm not putting that much stock into maybe if Aziz likes me, I'll it's none of that. But I want to present myself in a good way to him, of course.
You want him to know you're a comedian as opposed to him assuming that you are what?
A non-comedian,
Or just a high school friend of Ricky's or something
a
like that?
tag-along person who's excited to be there. And I want to be a comedian who's a not thirsty comedian. I don't want to come off as a desperate comedian.
So I think more simply, we can boil this down to you want his respect.
Yep. Yes.
Correct?
Someday. Yes.
Well, that's a humble way to put it. You don't even think you deserve it yet.
No,
but
it's not that I don't think I deserve it, but that wasn't the proper forum to force the judgment on my personal merit to him.
yes,
You know
you're
what I
not
mean?
up in front of the parole board yet. So then you said me not telling him that I'm a comedian will lead to more respect than if I do.
Maybe, but I don't know that it was that black and white. It's just more of like, do I want to do the like, oh, well, I'm a comic thing? Because like, I've heard that the other way around when I don't know somebody's a comic, and it can just come off in a way that kind of rubs me the wrong way sometimes. It's like, oh, you are? I don't know who you are. You know what I mean?
But I think this is a unique situation where you're talking to one of the biggest comedians in the world.
Right. But being that, you know what I mean? I've seen situations where like, I've seen somebody talking to a huge famous comedian, and the second that huge famous comedian heard the other comedian say, I'm a comedian, they like ended the conversation immediately because they expect now that they're going to have their soul extraction attempt is beginning.
Oh.
I don't know.
I'm interested in, I don't even know how I'm going to approach trying to describe what I am about to say, but I'm going to just wade in. I used to care a lot about what people who were much bigger than I am thought of me and how they perceived me. And I thought that there was utility in being recognized or respected or co-signed by people who are way ahead of me.
Mm.
I really did.
You're saying that you no longer value that at all.
No.
Dude. Really? You don't at all.
I wouldn't want them to dislike me.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want them to have a negative opinion of me. But, and by the way, this is not some like confidence thing. It's just that I fundamentally realized those people are not going to do anything for me.
Okay, so
They're not gonna help me.
That's
like
fine.
me running into Bill Burr, Louis C.K. I used to think Bill Burr was gonna like recommend me for The Cellar because I've met him. He's been so nice to me, and I used to think if I like forged a relationship with him that it would open doors for my career. And I've since realized there's probably 150 young comedians who have opened for him at some point in his career who all had that same fallacy.
Mhm.
And it's just not true. He can't help that many people.
Right.
He's helping the people who are really close to him.
Right. So, dude, I would even argue that like my response to that situation is a reflection of understanding this.
Yes.
To be like, I'm a comedian. He needs to know I'm a comedian. You know what I mean? It's like maybe a different version of trying to prove myself, but it's also just a general like, be cool.
No, I
You know?
agree. I agree. I don't think that you are trying to like do a song and dance quickly.
I'm not trying to mind fuck
catch
Aziz.
catch his eye. But I think fundamentally, like I used to get nervous and excited when I was around people I recognized, and we see them a lot in what we do. You know, I've met Louis like 3 or 4 times. And now I just, my heart does not beat faster. My pulse does not quicken. I no longer think like, this is your chance, impress him, find a way to get him to remember you.
Yeah, that's good.
Find a way to get these people. But it's not, I promise, if this comes off as like a brag, it's not meant to be.
No, it doesn't.
It's just that I checked in with reality.
Dude, that feels normal though. It's like if you're around enough, like you start to realize that this stuff is like not, it doesn't mean anything.
It comes from a place of humility where it's like, no, this guy's not going to give a shit about me, nor should he.
or even experience, right? Like
Yeah.
and it's not even like, I'm trying to put my finger on it, but like, it's not about, oh, I've realized that like trying to whatever, like being, and if anything, by being sort of like a peer, you're more likely to sort of like have some great organic relationship with them.
Yeah.
You guys can help each other or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think
It's not coming off as a brag.
watching people be sycophantic is really hard to watch.
What does that mean?
It's where you admire and sort of are really nice to people and suck up to people because
They can help you.
typically for your own personal gain.
Some people are really good at it.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of nauseating. I'm like, God, that's annoying to watch that guy be so good at that.
Yeah, but most I would say that most people who have made it are able to distinguish between the people who are being nice to them because they're genuinely nice versus the people who are being nice to them with the hope that it'll result in a kickback for their career or whatever.
Right. Yeah, like eventually. Or, dude, but sometimes those people are just like that forever. They're like, oh, I'm going to make this guy my best friend.
Interesting. Can you look up sycophant? Is that right? Yeah.
Nailed it. Vocab word for the day. But dude, yeah, it's an interesting thing. It can be a mind
I just
fuck.
wanted to add, Giulio handled it lovely. I forgot to add that.
appreciate
You
it.
watched him. I've never seen you. You have really good social instincts.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I've
that.
never seen you put your foot in your mouth or sort of make some kind of misstep in a situation where the stakes were high because there was someone of very high status there or, someone who's very, whatever. You are very in tune with the vibe of wherever you
I
are.
appreciate that. Thank you. That's very nice. That's very nice. That's very nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I do this, like it's hard to not try to like self-improve and whatever. And sometimes like I have these moments where I'm like, dude, like you are who you are. And like there are bad things about that and there are good things about that. Like if you change one thing, another good thing might also change.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I fear that like I don't put myself out there enough, or like I'm not like pushy enough, or like, and like maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe it's just not who I am. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm the right amount of pushy. You know what I mean? I just don't really know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, dude.
Yeah.
Because there have been times where I'm like, you should do this, and it wasn't my my like an instinct to do it, and I've done it, and it was the wrong thing, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but
You
that's
know?
where you learn from those things.
Right. Totally.
That's where you learn from all that.
Okay, we have an email we need to do.
Oh, good. Emails.
I think that we need to help these people.
Let's help them.
Okay, so this is titled SOS. My friend is dating a dog abuser.
Oh no!
I know. Not good. Francis and Giulio, love the podcast. Avid listener for a long time now.
All right, come on.
Can't wait to finally make a trip to NYC to see one of your stand-up or live shows. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
I need your help. One of my friends has been dating a guy 20 years older than her for a while now. Only recently did I finally meet him and learn his last name, so I decided to Google him to see what he did for work. When asked what he did for work, he had a suspiciously vague answer, so I felt the need to do some digging later that night. The first thing that comes up under his name are viral videos of him abusing his dog. Tons of online outlets published a story of him a while back, and they had his headshot, so I know it's 1,000% him, 10,000% him, she wrote. I have no idea if my friend knows. They've been dating for a year. On the one hand, doesn't every girl Google a guy before she goes on a date with him? On the other hand, she's a huge dog lover with dogs of her own, and I can't imagine she would be dating him if she found this out. Is it my place as an increasingly distant friend, because of the pandemic, to send her this video of him or ask her if she's ever Googled him? I see two outcomes. And by the way, there's an update to this email. that I'm going to read immediately after I read these things.
Excellent.
So just keep all this in mind.
That makes me happy.
I see two outcomes. Either one, she doesn't know, and by giving her this info, it triggers her to break up with him. Or two, potentially worse, she does know, and somehow she's okay with it. In which case, I don't want to be her friend anymore because anyone who accepts that behavior is disgusting. Any advice on how to handle would be greatly appreciated. An update on this situation.
Wait, can we weigh in before we have the update? Or do we not? It behooves us to hear the update.
Let's hear the update.
Does the update tell us what she did?
No, the update just like gives an update on her proximity to everybody.
Okay, good. Yeah.
An update on this situation. We've all been invited to a wedding in Portugal this summer, including my friend and her old ass boyfriend. Should I confront her about this before the trip? Not sure if that would fuck everything up for the friend group. Again, any advice is welcome, appreciated.
So they've been dating a year. I have an instinct that tells me this woman is aware of his issue. And I have no idea what type of dog. I wish we could see the video of the dog abuse.
So I wonder, the story sounds like it was like a news story. Like this dog abuser guy, here he is abusing dogs.
His dog. I'm not excusing it,
A
but
dog.
you know, he's walking through the park, the dog barks at a pigeon, he smacks it in the face. That's very different from a hidden camera video of him kicking a dog repeatedly. You know what I mean?
Totally. So which makes my thought like if she does know, maybe he's somehow talked his way out of it. But if it's just so blatantly obvious, how could one talk their way out of it? Is my thought.
Right. Well, look, either way, I just think it's hard to imagine that you could date somebody in this day and age for a full year without having been sent or having seen yourself the number one search result that comes up when you Google their name.
Yeah. And so this is my thought on this in general. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. When do you bring up the sort of incriminating thing about the person your friend is dating? When do you do that? Because you can't just do it right away. You almost have to have like a strong enough thing to say that their boyfriend can't completely turn your friend against you now. You know what I mean? So if like you suspect he's doing something sketchy, you should wait till you have like something good to report that he can't like walk out of, because then you just like fuck yourself over. Maybe, you know what I mean? Just like at the sake of this shoot the messenger situation, try to be as compelling as you can.
Yeah.
And this situation sounds like a thing that you have to ask about.
Well, yes, but I also think this person who has discovered that her friend's boyfriend hurt his dog should try to go into this with somewhat of an open mind. The idea that she would tell her friend, yo, heads up, your boyfriend, you know, is on the internet beating his dog, and that the girl could be like, listen, I know it's something we've covered. He explained it, his side to me, yada, yada. And that the original girl would then be like, well, then I can't be your friend anymore. That seems close-minded to me.
Yeah. Because there's a couple of things that could be possible. So there's a way to bring it up that's appropriate. You'd be like, hey, listen, when I like met your boyfriend or whatever, maybe now a lot of time has gone by, but like I had remembered that I didn't know what he had done, what he did. So I Googled him. She'd be like, you fucking Googled him? Be like, yeah, I Googled him. It's not that weird. I thought his response was weird, so I Googled it. And also that's not the point. I found this story about him, and I'm sure you probably already know, but if you didn't, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. What will likely happen is she'll be like, yeah, I know about that already. This guy's old, right? Maybe it happened 20 years ago. Maybe he did his time in dog abuse parole and took 100 hours of classes working with stray dogs and reviving them. And he's a changed person now who's found God. And maybe now he deserves forgiveness now or something. These are all possibilities.
Agreed.
So to your point, agreed. You should go in with an open mind. Don't make assumptions. And by not addressing it, it's as if you're just assuming the worst, and it's fucking your friendship up anyway.
Yeah, I think either way, she does need to bring it up, though.
Yeah. And worst case scenario, like you said, like if your friend doesn't give a fuck, then you don't want to be her friend. I understand. And if she didn't know, you just did a solid to your friend for your friend. She dodged a bullet.
Exactly. You know, but I also think to your question, Giulio, you should do these things sooner rather than later, because, you know, the farther that a relationship gets down the road, the more polarizing a piece of news like that could be. Meaning, if this girl is, you know, gets engaged or whatever to this guy, and then you bring this up, you are forcing her to pick a side.
Yeah,
You're basically forcing her to say, I either stand with him or I'm ending my relationship, so that, you know, or whatever. And in either case, the earlier you tell it, the easier it is for people to have a more rational conversation about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like getting it out in the open and
totally.
trying to figure out how to explain it all to everyone. I don't.
It's like a fucking skin tag. You know, if you get rid of it right away, if you wait 3 years, it grows, and now you're dealing with a much bigger, grosser.
The stakes are just a lot higher
Yeah.
the longer you wait.
And dude, this is the other thing to remember. Like, don't be afraid to deliver a tough message to a friend about their girl or boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like, what I was saying before, it wasn't a like keep your hands clean situation. Like, I'm willing to roll my sleeves up and get involved, but if it's like super ambiguous, I'm not going to bring it up, because then there's just too much back and forth, and like I'll just let it develop a little bit more. But for example, like, I've gotten myself very involved before, and to the point, and this is funny because time goes on and all wounds heal and it'll be fine. Like, this girl who dated a friend of mine in college, I saw a Facebook message from myself to her that was like, if you don't tell him, I'm going to tell him. So you literally need to tell him. And then the next message is her being like, hey, do you want to perform at my, like 7 years later? You know what I mean? And we all are like, oh, that was a while ago. That didn't matter. Like nothing that, you know what I mean?
Right.
People get over shit. So like, don't be afraid to insert yourself in a situation like this if you have some juicy news for someone.
All right, I got a question for you. Let's say that a friend of yours starts dating someone that you have hooked up with.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that you hooked up with that person.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to you after a certain amount of time and they tell you, I really, really love this person. I think she's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And all of your friends that you have in common know that you did hook up with that person, the person that he's now in love with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you need to tell him that you once upon a time hooked up with that woman?
No.
Why not?
It's like, it's just a dick move. Like, it doesn't matter that I hooked up with her. He loves her. He has something much more special than whatever I had with her. You know, we just had fun together. It's not like I fucking did something. You know what I mean? It's not like I did something bad to her or something. Like, we hooked up with each other. Like, we had a nice time together. I didn't do something to her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if she wants to tell, she can. And then if he's like, why didn't you tell me? I'd be like, because it would have been disrespectful. Like, I didn't want to like shit all over your relationship. I had like a fun, like me and her hung out in a way different time. Like, whatever you have with her is super special. Like, she's an amazing girl. And I would never disrespect your relationship.
Oh, what a lovely answer.
Is that good?
What a lovely answer from Giulio.
Is that good?
If only
though?
we could all see the world as elegantly as he does.
I just don't think that kind of thing has to be a problem. To be honest, it's much easier when it's out in the open already. Like, if your friend is dating a
Of
girl
course.
who they know you hooked up with.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. This situation happened to not with me, but to some people I know, and it was really tricky.
So what happened?
Can
Can you even?
Yeah, I think so. I basically no, I can't. We know better. I'm not sharing it.
So,
But the guy had to tell.
let's conceptually, yeah. So the person,
The guy had to tell, and
had
he got
to tell?
punched, and he got punched in the
why
face.
did he have to tell?
Because he determined that too many other people were talking about it and that it was going to come out, and he thought that the respectful thing to do for his friend was to tell him.
Yeah, I potentially would have advised against that. Like, I think this idea that like having hooked up with somebody's girlfriend previously meant that like to you it meant nothing.
Mhm.
And now I love this person that to them they just banged her, and like that's like such a like antiquated way of thinking.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean?
It's really, that's toxic masculinity.
And even the impulse to be like when your boy is with his girlfriend, his hot girlfriend, and someone's like, she's hot, having to be like, I banged her. Like that is like something that should be
gross,
avoided
Yeah.
too. That's an impulse one should avoid.
Yeah. That's
But-
just a very immature thing to do. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's good. That was a good
Wow.
final,
Fun.
good stuff.
Well, thanks for joining us as always on Oops the Podcast, guys. We've got lots
where
of
you at?
interesting things happening. I'm at Bananas Comedy Club in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, February 18th and 19th. Tickets for that are at francisellis.com. I hope to see you guys there. I'm also at Gotham Comedy Club here in New York City on April 8th and 9th. Big weekend there.
Sick.
Also at francisellis.com.
Amazing. I'm gonna be in Pano City Beach, baby. Harpoon Harry. You can get it on my website, giuliogallerati.com or giuliocomedy.com. If you can't spell either of those, the link is on my Instagram.
Do both of those URLs go to the same website?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Just because giuliogallerati.com is fucking absurd.
Preposterous.
It's preposterous. And Giulio Comedy is like too like kitschy.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
both are terrible. The link is in my
Man, if
bio.
your name were the answer on a Wheel of Fortune question, you would go broke buying vowels. I'd like to buy 400 vowels, please.
That's hilarious. Dude, that's great. Yeah, we got some merch coming down the pipeline. We'll keep you posted on that.
By the way, can I add another thing?
Yeah.
So a girl that I used to date, her name is Julia, but she spells it Giulia. So whenever I start to look for your name on my phone, this was before I had added your contact to my favorites list. But before, when I would just type in GIU, she would pop up. And the risk, there were multiple times where I would start to text what I was meaning to text to you, to her, and would catch myself.
Dude.
And it was very fortunate that I didn't, because I don't think she's very fond of me. I don't think she wants to hear from me. Hey, are we recording at 11 a.m. today? Oh, shoot. Sorry. How are you doing these days? It's been a while. What's up? Saw that you got engaged recently. Keep that can of worms closed.
Shout out to Julia. YouTube channel. We have some fun little side content that I think you guys are going to enjoy. We had a good time recording the thing that we're going to put up. So
Yeah.
check that out, and adios.